Hi, this is Tricia from Tribe to Village. Thank you for joining us once again. This is our tribe, our village, our family, and we're wrapping up the month of love. So, what better time than to talk about toxic relationships?
Uh-oh.
And I'm joined here with my good friend Jeyser, and Jeyser always offers the best insight about relationships. And so she's a perfect member of our tribe to touch on specifically how to heal after a toxic relationship. So, Jeyser, thank you for joining us.
Of course.
And would you like to offer a little insight about, sharing a little bit of your experience with being in toxic relationships?
Sure. So I wouldn't say I'm the perfect person to speak about this, but
No,
yes, I
no,
have
perfect.
gone through some toxic relationships in my life.
Mm.
So I am speaking from experience.
Oh,
Uh,
and I also wanted to note that toxic relationships, even though we say this is the end of the month for love, like toxic relationships don't only have to be a romantic relationship. It could also be a relationship with a family member or a coworker or a friend, right, Jay?
yes, absolutely. So I can say that I have been in a toxic relationship with a family member, with a friend, and with also a romantic partner. And one of my first experiences, even though I didn't know it back then, it was through my first boyfriend in high school, who became very controlling and abusive, both verbally and then eventually physically. And that's when
Physically?
yes, physically.
Oh wow, Jay,
Mhm.
you always walk around with such an upbeat personality and a smile on your face, but it just goes to show you never know the stories that people have inside or what they've endured in life. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of women's out there, not even women's, but males as well, have been in a very domestic
Mm,
abusive relationship. And that makes you a stronger person at the end if you're able to survive and, walk out of
mm.
it alive.
You
Because
are
not,
stronger.
unfortunately, not a lot of people walk out of it alive.
Mm,
But anyway, to continue with my experience and my journey, after getting out of that relationship, I think that was after 7 years. Um, I met someone else. This was later on in my late 20s. And he was very opposite of the my first boyfriend. He was more like a romantic, and he bought me flowers, and he just romanticized me. He
sounds
basically
perfect.
said, yeah, he basically said everything I wanted to hear. I love you. I'm going to marry you. I'm going to have kids with you. I'm going to buy you a house. And I fell for it. I
Mm,
fell for it. And when I say I fell for it, because it was all bullshit, it was all a lie.
mm.
Um, I found out later on that he was in a relationship with someone else. And
While he was with you.
while he was with me, yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
so a lot of it was lies and infidelity and very deceitful behaviors.
mm.
Um, and I failed to notice the red flags.
Wow. Wow. So that is a very toxic relationship. What I'm hearing from you is there were lots of lies. He was manipulative, right? Sounds a little narcissist,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah, he
I,
was definitely a narcissist.
wow. What are the other types of toxic relationships out there?
Well, you mentioned a few, the verbally abusive, the manipulator or the codependent, the narcissist. Um, I can't even name more, but if you guys know of more, feel free to comment down below and
Yeah.
share with us.
I just want to say, Jay, I'm so thankful that you were able to make it out of that situation. Like we said before, not a lot of people could make it out of a toxic relationship, you know? So kudos to you for you and your strength. And I'm so happy that you're here with us to, share your experience. And I just want to know what kind of advice would you give to other people who are in the toxic relationship now, or maybe they got out of it and you want to give them advice so that they don't repeat.
Try to like distance yourself, or what they call ghosting nowadays. Try to like ghost them or apply the no contact rule. I know for certain situations it's really hard to do that if you're sharing custody, for example, or it's a family member and it's really hard to avoid them. But try your best to like have minimal interactions with them. If you're out there looking for love again, that's great. I encourage that. Don't have fear in falling in love again, but make sure you don't ignore your gut intuition.
That's important.
Don't ignore those red flags. If you see something that you're like, that doesn't sound right, or that doesn't look right, question it and run.
Yeah.
Run.
I always say your gut feeling is your spirit guides trying to tell you what to do. No, girl, you need to go. Or no, boy, make that left turn, not right. So definitely listen to it. That's an excellent point.
Right. And if you're having a hard time deciding, talk to a trusting friend or even a professional, and see what they think, see what their advice is. Because oftentimes your inner voice is correct, but you're too afraid to acknowledge it and say, yeah, you're right. I need to leave,
Yeah. And Jay, so when you left those relationships, right? Especially the second one, because that was your final one, right? The second toxic relationship?
Yes.
How did you move from a place of being a victim to a place of healing and finding your voice, finding your strength?
I've read a lot of books that definitely opened my eyes and gave me some insight. But I also kind of knew deep down inside what I needed to do. And it was almost like I was being guided by my spirit guides, like you said, on what to do next. And it wasn't to drown your tears in like a vodka bottle.
No wine.
Or hop onto another relationship to try to forget or make that other person jealous. I had to admit that when I was younger, I did do both those things. I drank. I bounced into a rebound relationship. And it really ended up making me feel worse. It didn't really add any value to me. So now that I'm older. What's that?
It was like self-medicating.
Right. And I really didn't feel good about myself. So now that I'm older and with much more experience and knowledge, I realized I need to make myself feel better in a more productive way, in a more self-worthy way. And that's, it started with first fitness. I love exercise. It gave me that mental stability, that those endorphins, those happy feelings that I get through exercising or going to an adventure on my own, whether that's, down to the local park or, well, now that's all we can do, right, with the pandemic, or taking a solo trip somewhere.
So taking care of you, putting you first.
Putting you first, basically, going on dates with yourself. Going on a little spa getaway. And it's all about self-indulgent, pampering yourself and making yourself feel better.
Oh, treating yourself the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
That's great. I remember being in a toxic friendship and it was so draining. The person never had time for me, but yet they wanted me to be there at a drop of a dime. Anything that's going on in their life, I had to be there for that support system. And it was like I didn't have a problem being a support system, but it was draining when that other person was unwilling to offer the same. You know, it was very one way. And there came a point where I was like, okay, Trish, you deserve better than this. You know, you deserve someone who cares for you, you know, in a way that you need to be cared for, just as the way that you would care for them in a way that they need to be cared for. Right. Yeah. And I had to, and one thing that helped me to heal after that, because, you know, I'm a Virgo, so I don't have that many friends, but when I have them, I hold them tight and I cherish them. So when I lost that friendship, it hurt me deep to my core. I had to envision, like, what helped me heal is to constantly envision myself, my life without that person, and how better I would feel in the future.
I agree with that 100%, except for the fact that you only have a few friends. You don't have only a few.
I'm so happy with my tribe. But I had to mentally tell myself that I was going to be okay, because that person made me feel as if I wouldn't find a friend that was better than them, right? And that's part of that's a toxic relationship, you know. Yeah. You hear people say it all the time, you're never going to do better than me, or I'm all you got, or I'm the best you ever had, blah, blah, blah. You know, in any type of relationship, you could find that toxicity. So I just had to tell myself that it's going to be okay. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be happier in the end. And I'm worth better than this.
You're worthy. Absolutely. And that's key, coming in with that self-confidence, that self-worth, self-respect. And knowing your limits, knowing your boundaries, and letting people know, like, you're crossing the line here, you know. Time to back off, back a little, back away a little.
Yeah, protect your energy.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much, Jay. And I know you mentioned before that you read some books that offered you insight as to how to heal after toxic relationships. Do you mind sharing a couple?
Sure. I have more than one, but I'll mention my two. So the first one is called It's Not Your Money by Tricia Silver. And it sounds like a money book, but it's more than a money book. It walks you through affirmations and meditations to sort of change your perspective on your relationship with money, but also your relationship in other areas. Because if you think about it, the way you view money, if you think you don't have enough, then you're going to walk around thinking, I'm not enough. And you're going to end up most likely in these toxic relationships that don't fulfill you. So you have to sort of rewire your brain into thinking that, yes, I am enough. And everything that I want, the divine love will always provide me with abundance. And you have to walk around thinking that and believing it, truly believing it, not just saying it.
Wow, that's good. The relationship between money and toxic relationships.
Think about it.
Meditation. Okay, that's a good one. Thank you.
The second one is a fictional book, and it's called Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Just to give you a little synopsis of it, it's basically about a young girl who's abandoned by her family because her father is a drunk and very abusive. Her mother walks away, and she's
fictional.
It's fictional, yes.
Oh, it could be in anybody's life, right?
Right. So anyone can relate to the character. I definitely found some areas where I related to the character because she was basically left to fend for herself. And as she was growing up, her first relationship was actually with a toxic man who didn't value her. The second book, which is out in Netflix right now, the Bridgerton collection, The Duke and I. It's steamy, it's hot. I really enjoyed the Netflix season one.
I need to watch that. I need to get
Yeah,
on it.
yeah, you do. Uh, but if you do an analysis of the main characters, you will definitely see a lot of toxic relationships going on. But the thing is, they sort of blind you by romanticizing everything that this main character, Daphne, is going to change her Prince Charming's mind into doing what she wants to do, and which is marry and have kids. But you have to catch that in Netflix. I won't give it away.
Well, thank you so much for your recommendations. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for sharing, such a painful period of your life and how you were able to heal from it. And, if you were able to heal from a toxic relationship, romantic relationships, and I was able to heal from a toxic friendship, then, you, our viewers, could also make it out of toxic relationships and heal and come out stronger than you were before. So thank you once again. Thank you for listening, Jeyser. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
Yes. And let's continue to elevate and grow together. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. Let us know, how were you able to heal after a toxic relationship? Drop it in the comments. We would love to hear about it. Bye.
Take care.